Welcome to our channel where imagination comes to life. Get ready to embark on a magical journey through enchanting tales and captivating stories for kids. Story 1, The Paper Bag Princess. Once upon a time, a princess named Elizabeth lived in a castle. She was a beautiful and intelligent princess, and everyone thought she would marry Prince Ronald and live happily ever after. But one day, a fierce dragon attacked the kingdom, burning all the castles and clothes and kidnapping Prince Ronald. Elizabeth, wearing only a paper bag, decided to rescue Prince Ronald. She journeyed to the dragon's lair, where she found the dragon sleeping. Elizabeth used her wit and bravery to outsmart the dragon. She cleverly offered the dragon to perform different tasks that exhausted him, leaving him weak and vulnerable. When the dragon finally woke up, he was no match for Elizabeth's cunning plan. She told the dragon that he was a big, green, ugly dragon and that he was not worth her time. The dragon, feeling insulted and humiliated, flew away in shame. Elizabeth went into the dragon's lair and found Prince Ronald, who was surprised to see her in a paper bag. He criticized her appearance, saying she looked like a mess. But Elizabeth, realizing that Prince Ronald was ungrateful and shallow, stood up for herself. She said that she didn't want to marry him anymore because he was a bum. Princess Elizabeth walked away from Prince Ronald and the ruined castles, proud of her bravery and independence. She knew that she didn't need a prince to define her worth. The story ends with Elizabeth walking into the sunset, ready to embark on new adventures and create her own happily ever after. Story 2, The Empty Pot. Once upon a time in China, there was a young boy named Ping who loved flowers. The Emperor of China was getting old, and he needed to choose a successor to the throne. To find the next emperor, he decided to hold a contest among the children in the kingdom. The emperor loved gardening and had a special challenge for the children. He gave each child a seed and told them to grow the most beautiful flower they could. After a year, the children would return with their flowers, and the one with the most beautiful flower would become the next emperor. Ping was very excited about the contest and took his seed home. He carefully planted it in a pot and watered it every day. He waited and waited, but nothing grew. All the other children in the kingdom had beautiful flowers, and they mocked Ping for having an empty pot. Feeling sad and embarrassed, Ping decided to go to the palace with his empty pot. He hoped that the emperor would understand and appreciate his honesty. When Ping arrived at the palace, he saw all the beautiful flowers the other children had grown. He felt even more ashamed of his empty pot. The emperor examined each of the flowers and praised the children for their efforts. Finally, he came to Ping and his empty pot. Ping tearfully explained that he had planted the seed, watered it, and cared for it, but nothing had grown. He apologized for his failure. To everyone's surprise, the emperor smiled and revealed the truth. He had given all the children boiled seeds that would not grow. The emperor explained that he was testing the children's honesty and character. He praised Ping for being the only one who had the courage to bring an empty pot, showing his integrity and honesty. The emperor declared Ping as the next emperor, as he believed that someone with such honesty and integrity was the best choice to lead the kingdom. Ping's honesty and courage had won the emperor's heart. Story 3, The Most Magnificent Thing. Once there was a girl who had a brilliant idea. She wanted to make the most magnificent thing. She knew exactly what it should look like in her mind. With determination, she gathered her tools and set to work. She started by tinkering and twisting, hammering and gluing. But each attempt didn't turn out as magnificent as she had imagined. Frustration began to build, but she didn't give up. She tried again and again, making adjustments and tweaks, but still, it wasn't right. As the girl continued to work, her frustration grew. She became angry and started to doubt her abilities. She wanted to quit, but something inside her urged her to keep going. Taking a break, the girl stepped back and looked at all her failed attempts. Suddenly, she had an idea. She realized that her magnificent thing didn't have to be perfect, it just had to be enjoyable and make her happy. With renewed determination, she started once again. This time, she focused on the joy of creating and the process itself. She tinkered and twisted, hammered and glued, But this time, she wasn't worried about perfection. She was simply enjoying the act of making. Finally, she finished. The girl stepped back and looked at her creation. It wasn't exactly as she had imagined, but it was unique and beautiful in its own way. It had flaws, but it also had character. The girl realized that the journey of creating her magnificent thing had taught her valuable lessons. She had learned about perseverance, resilience, and the importance of enjoying the process. She had discovered that most magnificent things sometimes come from embracing imperfections. Story 4, The Dot. Once there was a girl named Vashti who believed she couldn't draw. When her art teacher asked the students to draw something, Vashti felt frustrated and declared, "I just can't draw." Her teacher encouraged her to make a mark on her paper and see where it takes her. Vashti took a blank sheet and angrily jabbed her marker, creating a small dot. She handed it to her teacher, saying, "There! I've made my mark." To Vashti's surprise, her teacher smiled and asked her to sign her artwork. Vashti felt a sense of accomplishment and began to see her dot in a new light. Inspired by her teacher's words, Vashti explored different ways to express herself through dots. She experimented with colors, sizes, and patterns. She realized that even a simple dot could be transformed into something beautiful and meaningful. One day, Vashti's little dot drawings were displayed in an art exhibition. A boy approached her and exclaimed, "You're a great artist, Vashti. I wish I could draw like you." Vashti smiled and replied, "I used to think I couldn't draw at all. But then I made a dot, and it led me to discover the artist within me. Anyone can make a mark and see where it takes them." Story 5, The Invisible Boy. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Brian. He was called the Invisible Boy because he often went unnoticed by his classmates and teachers. Brian was quiet and shy, and he struggled to make friends. In school, Brian would sit alone during lunchtime and play by himself during recess. He felt lonely and left out as he watched the other children laughing and playing together. Despite his efforts to be seen, Brian felt invisible to everyone around him. One day, a new student named Justin joined Brian's class. Justin was friendly and outgoing, and he quickly became popular among the students. One day, the teacher announced a group project, and Justin was chosen to be the team leader. He eagerly picked his classmates, one by one, for his team. But as he looked around, he didn't notice Brian sitting quietly at his desk. As the project progressed, Brian's classmates started to notice his artistic talents. They saw how he could draw amazing pictures and create imaginative stories. The other children began to appreciate Brian's unique abilities and wanted to include him in their activities. One day, Justin realized that he had overlooked Brian and hadn't given him a chance to be part of the team. Feeling remorseful, he approached Brian and asked for his help with the project. Brian was thrilled to be included and eagerly contributed his ideas and artwork. With Brian's creative contributions, the team's project became a huge success. The classmates started to see Brian for who he truly was, a talented and valuable friend. From that day forward, Brian was no longer the invisible boy. He was recognized, appreciated, and included by his classmates. We hope you enjoyed these wonderful stories filled with imagination, adventure, and valuable life lessons.